think most of us are here now. Let's just continue. So first of all, we are just going to view our total expenses on a card. Let's bring up our, okay, before we even, okay, let's bring up our total expenses here. Let's bring a card visual. This is a card visual. So just click on it, then it comes here. So expenses. Well, let's look at quarter to date expenses. Quarter to date expenses. Put it on the card. So you can see 14.8 million. But what I'm not seeing here, I'm not seeing Naira here. So let's quickly change the format for everything that has to do with currency. Let's quickly change it to Naira. So we can change it through this format. Instead of changing it one by one, we can actually change it at once. We'll come to our model. So we know that expense budget fully here. So I'll just click it and hold control. Expenses last quarter to date. Quarter to date expenses. Expenses KPI is not. Then quarter to date variance. So I just come down here. So for the format, I click on the format. I change the format to currency. Currency. Then I come down and pick my currency. What currency do I want? There are different currency here. You can see Naira here. So I pick Naira. So instead of changing it one by one, this is another sweet method to just change everything once. So let's go back. So we can see this is now in 14 million. So let's just work on this card a bit. So we come to our format. This is, let me even introduce you. This is visualization pane. This is visualization pane. This is where you see all your visuals. And here, this first one is the fields, where you put all your fields. So fields has, look at your fields here. Everything here is your fields. So this is where you put them, all your fields. This other place is the format where you design your charts and when you fit your chart to a particular format. Why this is the analytics. You do things like a predictive modeling in here, especially in a line chart. So this, let's go to the format tab and try and format this. So for the label, let's try and just reduce it a bit to, this is in 45. Let's reduce it to like 20 just to make it smaller because it's too small. 20 is too small. So let's make it like 30 then. Let's see. Okay, I think this is okay. So display units, yes, auto, not decimal place. Since this is in Naira, let's make it 2 decimal place. You see, it's changing. So the color, since we don't want our background looking like this, it's not beautiful enough. So let's change our font color to white, right? Let's change it to white. Font color to white. So you can see it has gone off, but we still get it back. Then our category label. So let's off that. And let's come down to our background color. Background, we also off the background. So it brings the 14.38 million out nicely. So we place this here. Let's just readjust this filter pane. Let's take it off so I will be able to see what we are doing properly. Let's bring it here. So the other thing again is, let's just do a quarterly trend to see what we are, how our performance is quarter on quarter. So for that, so let's use the bar chart. Let's go with this column chart. So just click on the column chart. Oh, sorry. Ctrl Z. So go back. Let's click on the column chart. So this is column chart here. So we want to see expenses quarter on quarter. So we'll move that to our values. So this is the expense. I want to cut it by quarter. That is when we come to our calendar table. So our dim calendar. Then we bring our quarter right here. So this is it. Okay. So this blank here could be that particular, there is no date on in the data. That is why it's showing off blank here. Just to take it off, we can go to our filters, and for our quarter, and just say, okay, remove blank. This remove, yeah. So this quarter 1 to quarter 4. Then let's see how we can quickly work on this chart. We can remove the background color as well. So on our format pane, off the background color. Yeah, so it's not too visible again. Then we'll come to our data. We'll come to our x-axis. So let's say our x-axis. Then we'll change the color to white. Yeah, so you can see that now. Then we still scroll down on our x-axis. So we can still make the chart wider so that we can use that maximum size to do that, to make it wider just a bit. Yeah. But we can still use inner padding as well, just to make it, okay, this is making it smaller. So depending on you, if you want to separate it more or you want to make it more closer. So that depends on you. So let me leave it this way. Then there are many things to explore. The title down here, I know this is already quarter, so I might not really need the title that should tell me that it's quarter anymore. So I can take that off. Yeah. So yes, that's all I want to do on my x-axis. I'll come to my y-axis. My y-axis, what do I want to do here? Do I want to really change the color? I'm not sure, because I'm going to eventually remove the y-axis. But what I just want to do here is to take out, there are some grid lines here. So I want to take out those grid lines. So I come to grid lines, I off the grid lines. So it goes off. So also, I want to take the title off also. Click on it, and title goes off. Then I off the x-axis altogether, y-axis altogether. Also, the title of the chart. So you will see where we are going to. I off the title of the chart. Okay. So I just make it smaller, just smaller a bit, and bring it here. Yeah, nice. So now, the next thing is to just put some narratives around this. Let me reduce the size further from 30, maybe to 25. So that to give me, afford me enough space to do some other things. Let me say, because anyone that sees this particular chart does not know what's happening here. So let's let them know. Let's lower this a bit. Yes, I think we are fine. So we are going to put a text box. This is a text box. Just going to put it here. Okay. So I just want to put some description to this chart that we've done. I'll also show you an interesting feature. So let's even say we want to compare expenses to last quarter. We can just write it. Expenses was, so I want to say, instead of trying to look for the percentage that it was higher than last year, there's a feature I can use on this chat box. I just click on value. Okay. Just insert a dynamic value so that as you are changing your quarter, so this is also changing along. That is why this is a very best practice to make our reports and everything as dynamic as possible, so that people will be less dependent on us to continue to give them updates. So I'll call this, I want to get the percentage variance for expenses compared to this quarter versus last quarter. I think I called it percentage variance. Okay, I've seen it. Percentage QTD variance. That's percentage QTD. Let me do VL. Okay, this is it. Percentage QTD variance. So I click on it, and maybe I change. I know this. My text size is Shigio UI Light. Okay. Then I just save it. It brings up the percentage, yes, 74.50. Okay. Higher than last quarter to date. Higher. Okay. Than last quarter to date. So I can still highlight everything and change the font size if it's too small. So let me make it like 12. Oh, yes, like 12. So I can put another narrative to just compare it against budget. I can say quarter to date, we achieved. So I want to call in a figure, same process. I click on value. So percentage variance against budget. That's what quarter to date versus budget. Yeah. So I pick the same Sigi UI 10. Then I save. So we achieved this 22.16 against budget. Yeah. So really nice feature. I just make it smaller a bit. So my usual manner, I take out just to make it finer. I take out the background color. And I change this to white. Yeah. So this is it. Then if you remember yesterday, we did like a budget, a KPI that we compared budget with actual. Yeah, if you could recall. So let's bring that in here. So let me just take this card. I copy this card, paste it, bring this card here. So I take out QTD expenses and I look for QTD expenses KPI. And I bring it here. So okay. So I reduce this a bit. I go to data label. So instead of 25, let me make this like 17. Or better still 16. Yeah. Make it smaller. Okay. Okay. Really interesting. Really nice. Oh. Okay. So I call this, let me call this, can just put a text box here. Let me take the same text box. Or let me just bring a new text box. There's no, it won't do any harm. A new text box. So I just call this, okay. actual v budget. Control A, highlight all the text, make it white, then I remove the background. So bring this down here. So we've designed this. So the next thing we are going to show, we are going to show, we are going to use a gauge, another type of visual, to show our full year expenses against full year budget. Let's quickly do that. So this color here, I can change my data colors. So you can also do that as well. Come to your format tab, go to data colors. Instead of blue, so I can decide to make it something like a yellow. So let's see about that. Okay. So you can change it. You can even change each. You can change each bar depends on what you want. That depends on what you want. You can change each bar. So let me just show you how you can do that. Data colors. You can on all the colors, and just you can see quarter one, quarter two. If you want to change the colors, you can change quarter two to another color. Let me say purple or this. But I wouldn't want to do that. Yeah. I like to limit the number of colors I use as much as possible. So let me take it back to the default yellow. So it's better that way. Let's limit the number of colors you use. So let's just quickly create a gauge right here. Here's a gauge visual. So we want to show, what do we want to compare? We want to show total expenses for the year. So total expenses for the year versus budget. So put our total expenses on the value side. Yeah. So this automatically splits it into, okay, so this is 34 million. Actually, automatically split it to, okay, you did 50% of your budget, which means we are doing well. So now let's bring our actual target here. So instead of using targeted value, we can use it as so that we will be able to see the whole beauty of the gauge. So we use expense budget full year. We put it at as the maximum value. So as we did that, this is now showing us that we overspent compared to budget. Yeah. So now you can also put this budgeted value here as your targeted value, so that this you won't be able to see that line. But it will be quite messy. So let's just take it off. So here's how a gauge looks like. It compares where you are now, where you are, where you are supposed to be. So that is what a gauge does. So this as well, we try to do some formatting around this. Let's take the title off. Title off. We can just off it. Let's off the title. Then our background color, we off it as well. Then our colors, our data colors, try to make it white. No, not data colors. Sorry. Data colors now. Data labels. Make this white. Yeah. Then let's look for, let's see our gauge axis. Colored value. Yes, that's what it's called. This value in here. It's called colored value. Let's change it to white as well. So yeah, nice. So this is showing us that our budget is 31 million. Our expense budget is 31 million, and we've done 34 million. That is, we've gone over budget for the full year. So we can bring let me take this same text box and put it here. So paste it, then I move it here. So I can call this full year actual. versus budget. Full year actual expenses versus budget. Control A. I just want to increase the font size. Increase it to 14. Or let me say 12. Okay. So anyone can easily know that, okay, this is what this particular chart is saying. Instead, I prefer to use text box to actually to talk about my chart than to leave the chart header in there. So sometimes it makes it really messy. So also, I take this my data colors. So the fill, I make the fill yellow, just to call it out a bit. Nice. So what's the next one? Or let me make it this same yellow here. So the darker yellow. So the next thing is to show. Let's show like a monthly trend of our expenses. So let's also use. We can either use a line graph or a bar chart. Yeah, since we've used bar chart here, let's use a line graph or let's use bar chart for expenses. When we are working on revenues, we use more of line graph. So let's take this bar chart again. It's our column chart. Let's place it here. Then we will come to our calendar table. We'll put our month, since we want to show a monthly trend. This is our month in here. Month. Put our month on the axis. Then our expense value. So let's go back to our expense measures. Then we take our expenses, put it in values. So it shows us a monthly trend. So we can just, instead of removing blank from everywhere we go, we can decide to put, let me filters on this page. So anytime you're having this kind of challenge, you can put filters on this page. Let me say I select here as filters on this page. No, let me say something like quarter or so, or half year. Filters on this page. Then I take out anything that is blank. So this gives us our expenses. What is usual to make it more beautiful? So we do the usual thing we do. We take out the background. Take out the background. Then we also change our colors. So for the data color, let's use a different color now. Let's say we use like a more beautiful blue. Yeah, so just to. Then we'll go to our axis. Let's work with x-axis first. So our color of our axis, white. You can also change the text size if you want. Let me assume I just change this to 10. So anything is possible. Just explore this, really. Explore it. So we can also tweak this, change the inner padding. If we want it to be more closer or to be more further, let's use it. Let's be more further this time. So we can make the bars more leaner. So we can come to our data labels. So it's off here. So let's on it for this one. I just want to show you as many possibilities as I can. So let's on it for this. We change the color to white. And this is in how many decimal places? Okay, this is 2 decimal places. Okay, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Then we can go to our y-axis. Let's scroll down. So no need to change the colors because since we have the values in here, we can as well do without the axis. So display units. Then what we are going to off the title. Then our grid lines as well is going to go so that we just have a more finer chart, a more beautiful chart. Then we off the y-axis. And what should we do again? Our header, our data label, title. So we take it off. So just try and bring this down a bit. Yeah, you can adjust this chart to fit what you want. So we can also bring this chat box down here and copy and paste and move it down here. So we can call this, let's just put it here. Call this monthly trend of expenses. Monthly trend of actual expenses. Take the rest off. Okay. So if you are learning something, just type 1. So if you are learning anything, or if you've learned anything, just type 1. Okay. Okay. Cool. So let's continue. I want to put some boxes here, some that just shows me the expenses for the full year, the total. Okay, I think I have that. Just let me just put something here. This is just illustration purposes that you can actually still put some cards in and around here to just give you more information. Let's say we want to do the variance against budget, for instance. So let me just copy this card instead of creating a new card. Just copy and paste this card, bring it down here, and just call it quarter to date. Can call it no quarter to date versus budget, full year versus budget. Can bring that to replace this quarter to date expenses here. So it's telling me that I'm doing 96.40 of my budget. That means I didn't actually meet, I didn't actually meet I spent more than I'm supposed to spend. That's what this is telling me. So the next thing is I can take the same chart. So instead of creating a new chart, I can take the same chart, copy and paste. Yeah. Bring it here. And okay. And for this same chart, instead of making it, I can change the orientation. For example, this is just, I can change it to look like something like this. Yeah. So you can see it. Then I want to show expenses by expense types. So I take out the month. So it shows me total expense. And I come to my dimension for expense types, which is dim expenses. Then I put the cost description. So this shows that salaries is my highest form of expense. And see, showing clearly. Okay. So we can see that there are some things that are not fully showing here that are hidden. There's a way we can actually work on that. Let's go to, I think that should be in, okay, our y-axis. Scroll down and see. Okay, I think it's called maximum size. Let's adjust that. You can see that the wordings here are coming up more. So in case you have a situation when you want to show categories for some things and it's not coming out well, so this is what you use to just adjust it a bit so that everything can come out. Right. So we have created our first dashboard here just to show us expenses. And I want to introduce you to another feature in Power BI. We call it smart narrative. Smart narrative. So sometimes, oftentimes, when we finish doing a whole lot of analysis, we find it difficult to just put some comments in and around all our analysis. That is where smart narrative help. I have it here, but let me show you how you can get it. To get smart narrative, you go to file because it's still a preview feature. You go to file, you go to option and settings, then options. Click on options. Click on options. So that is taking its time to come up. Then you go to preview features. So this is, mine is checked already, this smart narrative. So you just check it. Once you check it, it will come up here. So let me show you the power of smart narrative. I'm just going to click it, just one click. So you can see that it's creating your narrative, it's generating something. It's generating something. So what smart narrative does is that it's looking all through your data that you've shown here, on all through all these charts that you've shown, and it's giving you like a comment all around them. Like you can see that at 14 million, quarter four had the highest expenses and was 233.99% higher than quarter one, you know, which has the lowest expenses. Okay, this, the AI is artificial intelligence, and you just quickly look all through your chart and just give you a narrative. So it depends on you. Anyone you don't want, you can take it off. Anyone you need, you just leave it. So we off the background as well. Off it. Control A to highlight all the text. Then we change it to white. Yes. And we can change this to, let me say 12. Okay, 12 is too much. So let's change this to, let's leave it at 11. Yeah. So this shows us everything in and around our chart. So you can also use things like slicers, just to slice your data, cut your data, and all of that. Maybe tomorrow. Okay, let me bring this back. Tomorrow we will look at slicers. Okay, nice. So we've created our first dashboard for expenses. So we will stop here today. I think it should be 6 o'clock now, or past, guys, 6 minutes past 6. So our 1 hour dose of today is done. So we'll stop here and we'll continue tomorrow.